Hello YouTube, I'm Joey Russo, disabled competitive pistol shooter and retired Rangemaster, here with another episode of the Rangemaster's Bench to take a quick first look at the Colt 1911 Custom Competition Limited Custom Shop 9mm. As usual, before we begin, let me add my standard disclaimer. These are obviously still only my professional opinions based on over 30 years serving in professions of arms. So you will better understand my perspective, I will once again post down below my training and experience. I will also add as a warning, any attempt to replicate my actions are discouraged, and done so at your own risk. I assume no responsibility. Lastly, since no one outranks safety, do know all firearms have been safely confirmed clear and unloaded, and no live ammunition is in the room. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get on with it. First thing, please excuse my voice. I'm getting over a nasty cold. Now as we start this review, I'm going to ask you to join me in the Wayback Machine. When I started competing in IDPA over a dozen years ago, the gun for enhanced service pistol, or simply ESP division, was the 1911 single stack 9mm. I used a few back then, and I still own a couple. Fast forward to now though, and the 1911 double stack, aka 2011 style of pistol is much more popular, whether we're talking for competition, duty, or carry use. So when I saw what the factory calls the Colt 1911 Custom Competition Limited Custom Shop 9mm, I decided to embrace nostalgia and return to those early years when I first started running single stack 9mm in IDPA and purchased the pistol. Oh, regarding the name, it is a mouthful, so this will likely be the last time I use the correct factory model designation. Moving forward, I'll just call it the Custom Colt or something like that. As the name implies, the Custom Colt is built by the Custom Shop and has model number O1072CS assigned, with the prefix O standing for O-frame, that's the standard 1911, and the suffix CS standing for Custom Shop. The Custom Competition is described as a hand-fit Series 70 competition pistol assembled by the master gunsmiths in the Colt Custom Shop. It is feature-rich, with forward slide serrations and Bomar style adjustable rear sight with fiber optic front, and a blended mag well, and a number of other enhancements I will cover in more detail during the bench segment. I paid $2,300 for the Custom Colt. The Custom Colt shipped in the standard Colt blue plastic clamshell style of hard case with Colt logo on the top. Included with the pistol were two Colt branded Checkmate manufactured 10-round magazines, which utilize a leaf spring style of anti-tip follower to help prevent bullet dive during feeding. A cable lock and operator's manual. Also included was this test target showing a 5-shot group shot with 115 grain FMJ at 15 yards, and that's not a bad group at all. With included 10-round magazine, the Custom Colt fits in the IDPA ESP division test box with just slight compression of the magazine further into the well. On the scale with the same factory 10-round mag, the Custom Colt is a toad, weighing in at 42.2 ounces. As a reminder, ESP division max allowable weight is 43 ounces. Alright, let's now go to the bench for a closer look. You know what they say about first impressions, and Colt did not disappoint. From special roll marks on the frame and also here on the slide, identifying this as a limited custom shop gun, racy forward and rear slide serrations, as well as a groove slide top, and grayish contrasting G10 grips. Out of the box, the Custom Colt is a good looking pistol. In the hand, the Custom Colt is like old home week, having familiar 1911 ergos and just a solid heft that you know means business. To keep the Custom Colt from moving in your hands, the front strap and mainspring housing have been checkered 25 lines per inch, and when coupled with the G10 aggressive grip texture, ensures this pistol is not slipping around. Up on the slide for sights, we have an enclosed style of fiber optic front with a fully adjustable Bomar style Colt branded adjustable rear. A groove slide top is both aesthetically pleasing and can help with diffusing glare, and wide-spaced angled front and rear slide serrations provide good traction for efficient slide manipulation. Checking the extractor for movement showed just a tiny amount of front and rear movement, but no rotational or clocking movement. Slide to frame fit is just okay. Frankly, it's what I would expect on a duty grade off-the-shelf 1911 with minimal lateral, which you can probably hear, and no vertical movement. Slide travel is very smooth throughout with no disconnect or hitch. The barrel's interesting as it is, surprise, not a Colt, but an Ed Brown. But wait, there's more. Up front we have another surprise as the barrel bushing is also not a Colt, but an EGW brand national match bushing. Barrel to slide fit at lockup is rock solid though. For trigger, we have a curved, smooth face, medium length shoe. Out of the box, my pistol averaged a very smooth, consistent 4 pounds with minimal pre-travel to a defined wall. Clean break, followed by a short, positive reset. In other words, the type of trigger that has made the 1911 famous and what everyone compares other guns to. The magazine well has been nicely blended to the frame to aid in easier reloads. I'm not sure at this point if it is one piece with the mainspring housing or not. Once I detail strip the pistol during the full review process, I will let you know. The extended magazine release is easy to reach, and bonus, has been fitted correctly so that it will not trap a magazine when fully depressed. This is a common issue I have to address with most 1911 pistols, so the custom shops save me some work. Excellent mag release fitment is also evidenced by the fact the right side of the magazine release is flush with the frame. Again, nice attention to detail by the custom shop. The slide catch looks to be a polished factory Colt part, and like every other 1911, I'll be running it with my support hand thumb. For safeties, the custom Colt has the familiar 1911 pattern grip safety with a raised speed bump area at the lower portion to help ensure deactivation when gripping the pistol. Having this raised area is a good thing, as a grip safety required about 70% depression to deactivate and allow rearward movement of the trigger. Grip safety blending to frame is good, with no sharp edges noted under the tang where the web of the hand is when the grip safety is depressed. And the top of the grip safety follows the frame contours of the top of the tang when not depressed. The custom Colt also has a single-sided thumb safety lock with narrowish to medium-sized width pad, which per 1911 design blocks movement of the sear and also locks the slide and battery. While some might bemoan the lack of an ambi thumb safety lock, I actually prefer a single-side setup on my competition guns. This is due to my hand size, which can interfere with the right or offside thumb pad. As a rule, on my duty carry 1911s, I run a narrow pad on the right side to avoid any problems. The thumb safety lock's movement is very positive, with no float up or down, snapping on and off with an audible and felt click. Function checking the thumb safety lock sear and hammer interface determined no movement, aka presence of scant, of either the sear or hammer, which should come as no surprise as I fully expect the Colt Custom Shop knows how to properly fit a thumb safety lock. I found it interesting, despite being a classic pattern Series 70 gun without a Series 80 firing pin safety, The hammer is equipped with a Series 80 style of hammer design with a safety shelf versus a true Series 70 hammer half-cock notch that fully captures the sear, then requiring the hammer to be slightly cocked to free the sear from the half-cock notch. With the Series 80 safety shelf, like on the custom Colt, you don't need to cock the hammer. You can clear the sear from the safety shelf by simply pulling the trigger. Just like the traditional Series 70 half-cock notch, the purpose of the Series 80 safety shelf is to stop multiple shots or accidental discharge if the hammer somehow falls from the fully cocked position without the trigger being pressed. I'm really looking forward to going down memory lane and running a custom Colt. Once I get at least a couple thousand rounds through it, I will follow up with a full review, so stay tuned. I'm Joey Russo, disabled competitive pistol shooter and retired Rangemaster. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to others, and remember, where there's a will, there's always a way. Don't let anything keep you from pursuing your passion.